I think we should kind of get into audience reactions, as in people
Yeah,
don't like this. Like, oh,
it's fascinating.
yeah,
So Rotten Tomatoes for this is 45%.
yeah,
So normally, critics and audiences are not often in agreement. Here it's like 45% for both. So people don't know what to make of this, and people are having very different reactions to what they're seeing.
and it can't just be because it's Blumhouse, because people are used to, because obviously the main complaint about Blumhouse is it's just generic horror movies, right, that they release. I don't understand how people think this is rubbish.
Yeah. So I think it's a few things. One of them is just it's Blumhouse. Like Blumhouse has a reputation, it has a brand. People expect certain things. Like the teenagers that I saw this with, who thought this was funny, certainly were primed to expect a certain thing from Blumhouse. And they could not make the pivot. They could not figure out, okay, we expected one thing and we had good reasons for expecting that thing, but it's clearly something else. Another one is that the trailer is terrible. Like the
Yeah,
trailer makes it look like generic horror movie, gimmicky horror monster, scared people walking around an empty house. The trailer makes it look like this. So I don't blame people for expecting this. It's just once you've seen even if you don't like it, can't you recognize that this is something else?
yeah.
The criticism that I've seen a lot is, oh, the woman is not scary. That's just somebody in a sheet. And it's like, have you not heard of like psychological horror before? Can you not realize that this is about a person's emotional state? A lot of people don't seem to be able to make that leap. There's this whole meta debate about the future of movies and the future of cinemas and the box office, and about how some people will say movie studios are only feeding us franchise slop. Like that's everybody's favorite word now. It's just all sequels, all reboots, it's all IP. And then other people will point out, well, original movies get made, but nobody shows up to them. And then other people say, well, just make good movies and we'll see them. And I'm kind of in that camp a little bit, where I say, yes, there are original movies, but a lot of them are not very good. And the hit rate is too low for people to really take a lot of chances on cinemas. And the whole thing is a death spiral where mediocre movies lead to lower attendance, which leads to more mediocre movies, which leads to lower attendance. And I think that's kind of the dynamic that we're in. But showing up to Avengers 8 is like you can kind of expect what kind of experience to get from that. So I think that goes a long way towards explaining why audiences show up mostly for franchise movies, and that is why studios therefore mostly make franchise movies. But if you care about movies at all, I think on some level you have to put yourself out there a little bit sometimes. You cannot discover new stories if you never give any new stories a chance. And even if like there's positive reviews, like every review I've seen of this is positive. All of them love this movie that I've seen. Like they all say, "Oh, this is great. This is not your typical, Blumhouse nonsense. Like this is an actually a great story." And audiences are just not having it. Like on balance, like this has made so far $10 million. So this is probably going to flop,
What was the
right?
budget?
Even with good word of mouth, it will not get over 20, but it needs at least 30 to break even. Like 28, 30, something like that. Like this will probably be a cult hit in a few years, where like the people who know it really like it, but people have generally ignored it. But this is a competently made movie, terrifically acted, well written. It's got some flaws here, like they should have polished the metaphor a little bit, whatever. But this is a proper movie. This is what we're asking for.